Police there say 3 young women are facing charges. Investigators tell us a 32-year-old woman was attacked Thursday around 2 in the afternoon. She was later flown to a San Antonio area hospital where she died that night. Later that same day, Del Rio police said they arrested 21-year-old Kitty Diaz, 19-year-old Amaya Diaz, and 21-year-old Kyandra Faz.
Renee told police that Caroline had driven to her home that night looking to start a fight. Okay? Footage allegedly showed Cookie exiting her car with an object believed to be a knife confronting Caroline. So we have a story. One woman loses her life. It was 3 versus 1. And a lot of people are wondering what the motive is. What has happened? Well, I found some information. I spoke with somebody who knows a little bit of something. So I'm going to tell you what the motive possibly could be. In this case where a mother unfortunately lost her life in a fight with 3 other women out of Texas. Okay, so stay tuned, Fugitive TV. Welcome to Fugitive TV, and I am your host, Ray Marcel. And what we do here is we take a look at cases of missing individuals, anything true crime. And what I do is I give you a deeper look into the crime, sometimes a deeper look than what anybody else gives you, especially big time media, or a different point of view, because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself for 15 years, living in different countries under different names until I turned myself in. Now I have this YouTube channel and I try and help others locate missing individuals or whatever I can do with the experience that I have learned. Today, we're going to talk about the young lady who lost her life in a fight out of Del Rio, Texas. Now, this story has been everywhere. And if you haven't heard of the story, I will give you a rundown as well of what's going on with the story. One of the big questions to the story is, what's the motive? Now, I have seen big media, even all the way to Nancy Grace, talk about the story. But the one thing I have seen or heard and seen them talk about, they're getting the details a little wrong from what I found. So I don't know if they pre-recorded their shows like way before then. I don't know. But I'm going to give you so far what a motive possibly could have been from somebody that I've spoke to that is kind of familiar with what's going on. Well, first, let me give you a rundown on the situation. So we have a 32-year-old. Her name is, her last name is Pena. Okay. She's the one who lost her life. She lost her life due to stab wounds. I believe it was 4 times. And 3 people were arrested. Now, the 3 individuals who were arrested. Now, the names are 19-year-old Amaya Diaz. She goes by the name of Cookie. All right. Then you have her sister, Maya Diaz, who goes by the name of Kitty. So you have Cookie, who is 19, and Kitty, who is 21. Both of them are sisters. Then you have one who is not a sister. Her name is Renee Faz. She is 21 years old. Now, all 3 of these are the ones who have been arrested. Okay, so you have a 19-year-old and 2 21-year-olds. And then you have Pena, who is 32, 11 years older than the oldest one who, did the fighting, or I should say the stabbing. Well, all 3 of them, or I should say 4 of them, the 3 got into a fight against Pena. Pena lost her life hours later, actually. So not right then and there. Hours later, she lost her life at a hospital. Now, the family of Pena is also saying that the hospital could be responsible because they felt the hospital should have done more, which we're going to get into. So first, we're going to get into the possible details of what's going on. Now, I was watching an episode of Nancy Grace on this, and they made it seem like Pena was riding around, minding her own business, stopped at a stoplight, and then got jumped.
Business. She was driving around town. This is a very, very busy intersection. This is one of the main roads going through Del Rio. And she stopped at this intersection, and 3 young women are suddenly attacking her. She's surrounded. We know the details from this video that she was surrounded, but Caroline stood her.
There were some other news medias that were saying that she was at a Sonic and got jumped at a Sonic. So a lot of people were thinking this lady just was riding around and these three girls out of nowhere just jumped her, targeted her and jumped her. Come to find out, that is not what happened. So let me read to you a couple details. So first, I'm going to read to you this article by New York Post. This article is what got my antennas, I should say, sparked up. There's a few key words that was said in this that made me realize, hold on, maybe she wasn't attacked just at a red light or a Sonic on random. It says, mom tried calling best pal minutes before being butchered. Alleged by Texas sisters Kitty and Cookie, okay? A mom of 5 who was hacked to death in the street, allegedly by Texas sisters named Cookie and Kitty, had just minutes earlier tried calling her best friend, who was tormented by the thought she could have saved her. So before this young lady lost her life, okay, she tried calling her best friend. Her best friend is saying that she possibly could have saved her. So I'm thinking to myself, if she's at a red light and somebody randomly attacks her, it didn't make sense of if she would answer the phone, her best friend would have saved her. It just right there, I was like, hold on, something's not right. So it says Caroline Peña, Caroline is her name. So Caroline, who was 32, called her best pal, Christina, at around 1:35 p.m. Thursday, but it went unanswered. Just minutes before being unalived. Now, we can't say the M word here on YouTube, especially when you're a smaller channel like mine. They'll flag the channel, sometimes flag the video. It doesn't spread out to the masses. So please hit like and subscribe. Let's get me at least to 30,000 subscribers. Once I can reach a lot of subscribers, then I can start taking some filter words off. Well, it says, just minutes before she was unalived in Del Rio, Texas, allegedly by siblings Kitty, who's 21, and Cookie, who is 19. I feel like if I would have answered that call, honestly, I would have been there with her. Selena's friend of 8 years. Then she says it wouldn't have gotten like that. So I'm like, what does she mean have gotten like that? Because if I'm thinking, if you're going to get attacked, it doesn't matter who's there, right? Unless she thinks that she was by herself. That's why they attacked her. Heartbroken adult care worker Selena's, who is Christina, said she would miss calling her pal at 5:30 a.m. telling her, I need someone to talk to. Okay, so here is a picture. That is the poor lady who lost her life. And that right there is the friend that's talking right now. Here is Kitty's picture. Kitty's 21. Okay. And then here's a picture of them of Kitty getting arrested. And then there's the little sister. There's Cookie right there. All right. And there's Cookie getting arrested with the smile on her face. Then there's the third one, Renee Faz. All right. Who's 21. So this is from, like I said, the New York Times. So when I read that article, I started thinking, like, you know what? Some things aren't adding up. So let's go here. This is by Oxygen True Crime, okay? So Oxygen True Crime says police reveal new theory in sister Kitty Diaz, Cookie Diaz's alleged, unaliving of Caroline Peña, all right? So this says police have revealed a new development in the stabbing of Caroline, who was allegedly terminated by two sisters, Kitty and Cookie. The victim knew suspects, Kitty and Cookie, and Renee Faz. Del Rio Police Chief Frank told TMZ in an interview published June 29th. So it says right there, this wasn't random. They knew each other. All of them knew each other, all right? The four women all lived in Del Rio, Texas, according to Ramirez. Caroline had a reason to go over to the suspect's house. Now, anytime I do stories like this, guys, I always dig into the background. All right. I dig into the background of not just the suspects, but also the victim, because sometimes you gotta look at the victim's background to get the full story. You have to. Some people don't like it, but if you want to solve the case or get the full story, you have to. So you got to see if they had a bunch of drug charges. You got to see if there's prostitution charges. You got to see a reason why they were maybe at the house or maybe why they were where they were at in order to solve something. Okay. So when I looked at the background report of Renee Faz, and I noticed her where she lived at. All right. And I saw the home. And I was like, okay, so this lady lives at this area. All right. And then I realized they said where the incident took place. So the incident, they always say, took place the 800 block of East 10th Street is what they say. Then I realized that Faz has an address, okay, on East 10th Street, 800 block. So I'm thinking, wait, hold on. This is Faz's house. She's the one that got arrested. So did Caroline show up at Faz's house? That's what I started thinking. That's the conclusion I came to before I even spoke with anybody. All right. So let me show you something right here. So this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the block of where it happened. All right. This right here is exactly the same area of where it all took place. All right. So when you look, that's where Faz lives, right there. Then the corner right here is where the picture goes down. I don't know if you guys seen the picture, which I'm going to show you. There is a picture of after everything that happened. It shows Caroline with her shirt on, and it shows her back all bloody. And then it shows a guy holding one of the girls' back. Now, there is a whole video floating around. I don't know if the video is floating around. I saw the video. I can't show it to you guys, but I saw the video. Somebody videoed the whole thing, like the whole incident. Okay. It's online floating around. All right. So somebody was a stop bystander and just witnessed all this go down and just started videoing it. Okay. So that's how one of the pictures were taken, with her shirt being all messed up from the back, and it shows the wound. All right. So when you look at the picture is the same area right here. So when I saw this area and then I saw the picture, I knew that I was onto something. You have the yellow pole right here, which is in that picture. And then you have the fire hydrant. Okay. So I knew I was onto something. So I was like, this lady, Caroline, the one who lost her life, showed up at Faz's house. But why did she show up at Faz's house was my question. All right. So continuing with this article, it says, now this is Ramirez. Okay. Police Chief Frank Ramirez talking. My impression is it didn't look good, and you would think there would be a little more remorse in a situation like that. Ramirez told TMZ of the duo smiling as they were arrested. Because here's the two sisters. Both of them were smiling as they were getting arrested. It's on video, right? Caroline, a mother of 5, was fatally poked to death on June 25th later that day. Body camera footage obtained by New York Post showed Cookie and Kitty dressed in scantily clad outfits. Some language they used right there. Being escorted into patrol cars while smiling and laughing. According to criminal complaint obtained by New York Post, Renee told police that Caroline had driven to her home that night looking to start a fight. Okay? Footage allegedly showed Cookie exiting her car with an object believed to be a knife confronting Caroline. According to the complaint, Cookie was seen striking Caroline in the back as blood soaked her shirt. Meanwhile, Kitty and Renee allegedly beat her before running away. Body camera footage of the sisters' arrest and their upbeat attitudes later on went viral. Okay, so right there, he's saying that allegedly Cookie exited the car. Now, it really doesn't tell you the full details of why she showed up at the house. It doesn't really tell you a lot of anything. Now, I'm also going to show you guys a diagram so you can get a mental image of what's going on, all right? So I'm going to show you guys that too, but let me read you this. This has a little more information. This says, this is why fighting is never worth it. You never know how quickly things can escalate. A mother of 5 was killed after a fight with 3 girls in broad daylight, because this happened right in the afternoon on Thursday, June 25th, 2026. Police responded to Val Verde Regional Medical Center after receiving a report of a woman suffering from multiple stab wounds. Investigators determined assault occurred in the 800 block of East 10th Street. Then it says Renee Faz, I believe her name is pronounced, her first name I believe is pronounced Kyandra or Kyandra, I'm not sure. But Renee Faz, 21, told police that Pena, 32, had arrived at her residence. So the one who got arrested, okay, one of the 3 girls who got arrested, this was her house where Caroline arrived too. Now she says looking to start a fight. Surveillance footage later obtained by investigators showed Caroline's black Dodge pickup truck driving up to Faz's house, where Cookie Diaz, 19, and Kitty Diaz, 21, arrived shortly thereafter. The video shows Cookie allegedly fly out of the passenger seat of the black Chrysler 300 and confront Pena while holding an object in her right hand. Okay? According to reports, Cookie is seen in the clip striking, all right, Caroline in the back, where blood begins soaking her shirt. That's when Kitty and Faz jumped in, allegedly beating Caroline before running away. Caroline was reported driven to a local hospital by her nephew, okay? By her nephew. Now, a lot of the bigger media never mentions somebody else was there. Her nephew was there, and her nephew could be a big part of the story, all right? So the nephew drove her to the hospital, all right? Now this, and then she later passed away from her wounds around 9 p.m. at a hospital in San Antonio. So they eventually ended up taking her to a hospital in San Antonio, which we're going to get into as well. Peña's family says the sudden loss has left the children without their primary caregiver, and their world has been turned upside down. 2 of the children, 2 of them are autistic, and all 5 now face uncertain futures. She had 5 children, all right? And then once again, here's a picture right here. As you see, I believe that's Caroline right there with on her back and holding one of the sisters back. I believe that's the nephew. Now, I don't know who the person is that's in front of Caroline. That hasn't been established. Now, this is from what someone told me, all right, what happened, who was close to the situation. What they're saying is this is all over the nephew, allegedly, okay? Now, there's no official reports on this, all right? But this is what was told to me. Allegedly, the nephew, okay, was meeting up with them earlier, or at least one of them, and they took money from him. Now, the nephew, I guess, was selling some sort of weed or had weed on him. I'm not sure if this is true or not, okay? Like I said, this is allegedly. And he was supposed to sell it to them, but I guess they just robbed him, took it instead, and never gave him the money. Now, like I said, I don't know if this is true. Then the nephew called his auntie, who is Caroline, who's 32, all right? So then Caroline shows up to confront the girl who is Faz. Faz is the one who lives at that residence, all right? When Caroline shows up, this is when Kitty and I forgot the other girl's name already, Cookie, show up in their vehicle, jump out, and pretty much this is when all hell breaks loose, all right? So back to that post when it says Caroline was trying to call her best friend right before it happened. So, and then her friend says, I would have been there. I would have been there with her and it wouldn't have went down like that. So meaning, was Caroline trying to call her best friend and let her know, hey, I'm about to go confront this girl over my nephew? Okay. You coming with me? You coming with me? Can you come with me? Because I'm about to confront this girl over my nephew. As in, was she going to be her backup? Because obviously Faz most likely called Kitty and Cookie for them to come. So it would have been a big old brawl going on in the yard pretty much if everybody would have showed up. Now, like I said, this is allegedly what was told to me. Now, if this is true, it could be possibly. It would make sense of why this lady showed up to the other person's house. You know, it would make sense of why that would happen. Now, shout out to Jay at Guilty of Crime. Please go follow Guilty of Crime. If you love me, go follow Jay, all right? Awesome work. She actually did this diagram right here. She did it on her live yesterday, and I asked her if I can use this because this is a great visual right here. So it shows you this is Faz's house. Faz's house, that black truck, okay, that's Caroline's truck, the one who passed away. Now, she pulls up to the house in the truck, all right? And then after she pulls up to the house in the truck, you have Kitty who pulls up, you know, on the side of the truck. And when she pulls up on the side of the truck, well, guess what happens? This is when Cookie jumps out, who's the youngest one, 19, and attacks allegedly Caroline from behind, which gives her her first wound. So shout out once again to Guilty of Crime because she made this diagram. So this diagram actually gives you a great visual of, you know, how the car pulls in, the truck pulls up, and this is Faz's house. Now, don't get me wrong. This is no excuse for a person to lose their life, okay? No excuse whatsoever. Like I said, we still don't know the true details, but I believe what I was told compared to what I have read and what I've read you guys, it does sound like she showed up to Faz's house to confront her about something, and the other two showed up for backup. And then maybe Caroline was calling her friend for backup, but her friend never answered the phone. So a lot of this is making sense. And then you have the nephew who was there, okay? So yes, Caroline probably was, you know, was over the nephew, no matter what the nephew did, but it was over the nephew because the nephew seems like he was closest to the ages of all three of these girls. Because remember, Caroline's 32 and the other girls are 19, 21, and 21. And I heard the nephew is a whole lot younger than his auntie. The nephew is closer to that age range. So it would make sense of, you know, her probably confronting, like, let me confront these girls. My nephew can't fight any women, so let me confront them or whatever, right? But there's no excuse for them to lose their life. Now, are their lawyers going to try and go for the self-defense? Here's the issue with that. It's 3-on-1. In Texas law, we just went over this with Carmelo and Austin. Okay? The reason why Carmelo got sent to prison is because of, they said that it was the force that Carmelo used was too too aggressive. It didn't match the force that Austin used. So if Austin pushed him, Austin should have got a punch back, maybe a punch in the face, but not not stabbed in the heart. So we have almost the same situation. The difference is you have a woman that jumps out the car on this one and then pokes her in the back. So they might go self-defense, but I don't know. Then they might say, well, hey, this lady showed up on my property. So it's going to be, I'm interested to see how this turns out. I'm very interested to see how this turns out. So I'm going to keep you guys updated on this. Let me know what you guys think. Should this be self-defense? If Caroline, well, it's not if, she did. If Caroline shows up to the girl's house, should it be some sort of self-defense? You know? Or should they still go to jail for something? Because like I said, I don't think she should have lost her life over this. You know, that part is 3 against 1. You shouldn't have to pull out any weapons. Unless this girl's that bad and you guys don't know how to fight. And all I got to say is if you're going to be in the street doing stuff like this, learn how to fight. Learn how to fight. 'Cause if you don't, just stay out the street. Be in your room playing Xbox or be on TikTok and making dances. Because if you're going to have the street life, learn how to fight. If not, I don't know what to tell you. But the family also says that they feel the hospital could also be responsible for Caroline's death because Caroline, when she went to the first, she was transferred to a second hospital. The family believes that the hospital took way too long to transfer her. Remember, she passed away at 9 o'clock at night. So what was it? 6-7 hours later. So they said that the hospital took too long to transfer her. They had technical difficulties. At first, they were going to fly her on a helicopter, and I guess they didn't at first. And then they waited an hour and then finally got on her on a helicopter and flew her. And they also said by that time, they could have just drove her. So I don't know the full technicalities of what happened in the hospital, but I do know that on Caroline's side, a lot of them believe that the hospital could have saved her life and stopped the bleeding if they would have acted in time. I'm going to try and find out more details about this. If you know any information about this, you're welcome to tell me. I keep you anonymous. Like the person that reached out to me before about this, go ahead. I keep you anonymous. And you can supply any information that you feel needs to get out to the public that the big media is not telling. Well, like I said, you guys let me know below. Did she deserve to lose her life even though she pulled up on the other lady's property? You know? Or should it just been a fair one? You know, squabble up, catch a fade. You guys let me know what's going on with this, all right? Even if you're from the area. Also, comment below where you're watching from, city, state, country. Please sign up for the membership. It helps support the channel, guys, so I can do this full time. Wouldn't you like to see 2, maybe 3 videos a day instead of 1? This is what I'm trying to do and give you guys more lives. So please, let's get to 30,000 subscribers, at least by the end of the summer. We are almost there, and I know we can do it because I average about 1,000 subscribers a month, if not more. I'm growing, one of the fastest growing channels in the true crime sector. So please, everybody, love one another. Take care. Until next time, this is Fugitive TV, and I'm out.